Patrick McNeil back here with you at the intermission as we're joined now by Breton Eagles rookie forward Carson Griffin. Carson, how are you enjoying your first season in the Q?
My first year in the Q, it's been really good. I've been really enjoying it a lot. I have a different role in the team. I'm in and out of the lineup, but every day I'm just trying to work on getting better and drawing back into that lineup whenever I can, be ready to go.
Read one of the things that helped your adjustment to the QMJHL is the strong PEI influence on this team. I know Cam Squire's obviously a big part of that. How impressive has the PEI talent been pouring into the Q the last few years?
Yeah, I find in the past 2 years it's kind of gradually gotten more and more. Every year you see more guys make their teams, and it's really cool to see you playing against those guys all the way growing up. And it's good to see and still continuing to play against those guys in a higher level.
You were drafted by the Breton Eagles in 2022. A great story for me when guys persevere, your third time trying out for the team. What was different this time around that you were able to make the team, and how important was it to just never give up hope that you could be in the Q?
Past 2 years, I just kind of put being cut behind me and just focus on this year. And it's a new year, and I did not want to get cut again this year, so I gave it all I got. Worked out good for me.
You mentioned as well being in and out of the lineup. That's a challenge that a lot of rookies deal with. How different is that for you, and how do you try to stay focused when you're not playing?
I just try and stay focused on getting better, whether it's in the gym, on the ice every single day. And so that whenever I do get that chance to play, I'm always ready to go.
3 games in a row against the Moncton Wildcats. We've seen this team obviously has had some tasks with Rimouski and Chicoutimi as of late. How much did the guys get fired up for these big games?
We look at it as like a mini little playoff series here in the next week. This past 3 weeks, we've been focusing just on Moncton, and I think it's going to be a good test for us, but I think we're ready to go.
You were primarily playing in the U18 League in New Brunswick PEI, but you were called up a few times by Summerside, and perhaps the best debut anybody could have, getting a hat-trick in your first game with the Summerside Capitals in that 22-2023 season. Tell us about that night, getting a hat-trick in your first game in Junior A.
It was really cool, of course, and it was kind of just a blur. I didn't really believe it after, but I just went out there. I was playing with 2 good line mates. They're fast. They did the work. They got the puck to me, and I just put her in.
Summerside has your rights in the Junior A League. Did you go to their camp last year, or did you just want to play U18?
Yeah, the last 2 years I went to their camp, and I got cut both years. They wanted me to go back to midget and develop, and if you look now, I guess it really did help out.
You're usually a pretty veteran-laden team, too, I guess, so
yeah,
probably not
sure.
necessarily.
They seem to go for it every year.
Not the easiest teams to make. I always like to ask the guys about the Quebec International Pee Wee Tournament. I know it might be more special for the Quebec guys, but pretty cool for the Maritime guys as well. Just talking about the experience of playing in that event.
That was by far one of the coolest tournaments I've ever played. I think we played against a team from Switzerland. That was my first time playing against a team out of Canada. It was a really cool experience. Not even just playing hockey and all the cool stuff that's going on around that city. And I think we got to watch a Q game during the tournament, and it was a really cool experience overall. Did
you get into any of the pin collecting? I hear that's a big thing too.
Yeah, the whole team seemed to get into that. Whenever we were playing, we were always upstairs and where all the guys were trading pins, and spent a lot of time there for sure.
Probably pretty tough to get all of them, I guess, because it's a pretty big event.
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of tournaments, first time perhaps on a bigger stage would have been back in Pee Wee, the Ed McNeil tournament in PEI. I understand that's a big deal, and you had the game-winning goal in that event. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was really cool. We were playing against a really tough team. We lost them in the round robin, and we managed to make it to the finals. We worked hard all tournament. It was a close game, the whole game. I think it was almost tied most of the game. And I think it was just in the second period, we scored it to make it 4-3. And late in the second and then third period, we kind of just locked down on defense and came out with the win.
Your brother Cam is currently playing in the U18 League at age 16. He wasn't drafted in the Q, but as we know, there's more than one way to get to the league. What advice do you give him as he continues in his hockey journey?
Even just whenever you look at me and I was cut, there's not really much of a difference between being cut and not getting drafted. You just got to keep working, never give up, and whenever you get a chance, focus on that and give it all you got.
Not just yourself, but you look at both Aiden McCullough and Angela Fullerton on the Eagles were both bypassed in their first year of draft eligibility. I know One of the big things you did in the offseason was a lot of running hills. Talk a little bit about your offseason training.
Yeah, so in the off-season, usually I work out with a trainer. This year I decided to work out with my father, and he pushed me a lot. I think it was almost 4 or 5 times a week. We headed down the road to a big hill, and we were sprinting up and down it, I don't know, for hours, trying to gain leg strength and explosiveness for my skating, which really helped a lot.
Earlier this year, you had a bit of a setback because you had the flu. That was a bug that was going around. It seems like, unfortunately, you got a bit worse than some other people do. Just talk about how much of a challenge that was, fighting back from that.
Especially right at the start of the season, whenever I was playing a lot at the start, and then came down with the flu after the first couple of games. It was a little setback. I was out for like a week not doing much, in bed a lot. I think it took me almost a week or a week and a half to fully get back to game shape, skating, doing bag skates at practice, and getting back into game shape, ready to go.
It's good that you were able to bounce back from that and hopefully get a chance to play a little bit in the second half of the season. Lastly, I'll ask Carson, if somebody hadn't watched you play before, how would you describe your style of play?
I'm definitely a power forward. I try to play an easy game. I think I have the scoring touch as well, but I like to get the pucks in deep, get pucks out of the zone, forecheck hard, finish my checks, and then I can also put the puck in the net whenever I can too.
Fans will root for that. All the best going forward, Carson. Thanks for this.
Thanks very much, Patty.
That's Cape Breton Eagles forward Carson Griffin joining us at the intermission. You're listening to Celtic Kubota, Cape Breton Eagles Hockey, 1270 CJCB.